Hunka hunka, party people. Welcome to another exciting Wednesday episode of SJU. We got some big news today. Joker stuff. My favorite kind of stuff, your favorite kind of stuff. Can we get enough Joker stuff? Not on this show. Then we got some other bits and pieces of news. And then Kim is doing a junket interview with the WandaVision creator, Jack Schaefer. That's fun. And yes, Kim and Lon are joining us. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Hey.
So, a hearty Joker stuff to you both because we're here to talk about
And also to you.
the only topic worth talking about. Some new Snyder Cut info, specifically these images of Jared Leto's Joker, who's returning to the project. We will see a scene with Joker and Batfleck speaking to each other, interacting with each other, loving, hating each other. Who knows? As you can see, it's a different look. His hair has grown out. His tattoos have been lasered off or make-upped over. Does he look like he works in a deli? You be the judge. What do you guys think of the new look, Leto 2.0 Return of the Joker, both the design and just the inclusion of him?
Well, I mean, the first thing that struck me about this, and having watched the film again recently, is how much he looks like Brandon Lee in The Crow. And I know that Brandon Lee's Eric Draven was an influence on Heath Ledger's Joker. And watching the film recently, I even saw the tongue movement that he does that Heath Ledger absorbed. So
a lot of tongue acting, Heath Ledger's doing a lot of mouth stuff in that role.
So much mouth stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was fleeting with Brandon Lee, and Heath Ledger definitely turned it up to 11 when he took on the Joker role. But yeah, so it's interesting that both interpretations have recalled The Crow for me. It's still such an influential film, and he looks very different to the brightly colored Joker we saw in Suicide Squad. What did you think, Lon?
I'm so confused. The Joker's barely in these Snyderverse DC movies, and yet he's got the most complicated timeline. Like, I don't think any characters ever appeared in movies less, and yet there's like more stuff we got to know about them. Because this either takes place before, like this may be a flashback because he doesn't have the tattoos or anything that we've seen that he has in Suicide Squad. But it would only make sense if it was like post his Jokering career where he killed Robin, and Batman's got like that. You would assume would be the significance of him and Batman meeting is that he's killed Boy Wonder. It's just like it's so all over the place. I'm just like, maybe it'll be great and it'll be a cool scene. Obviously, we have to wait and see what develops on HBO Max, but I don't know. I don't even understand where the Joker fits into the Justice League world at the time of that movie. I've seen all of these projects like 8 times and I'm lost.
Well, so it will be indeed one scene unless they're holding things back. They didn't shoot, a whole part for the Joker to be woven throughout. And I will say, mild spoiler alert.
In that small, narrow room.
Yes, yeah, I think it is. So giving you a mild thing if you don't want to know what the scene is, because it says in the Vanity Fair article what the topic of the scene. This is, okay, here comes a spoiler. This is a dream Joker. This is a vision Joker. The Joker that lives inside Batman's mind when he's doing like that whole vision of the future thing. Well, I don't know if it's during that sequence, but because isn't that also from BVS? Never mind. Yeah, it says that it's
not the nightmare thing.
This is a vision, though. This is a vision of the future and a warning from the Joker of what happens if they fail. So, what do you think that warning could be?
And I think it is.
It's all you have to save Martha.
I think. Well, that or the other thing I thought was how Leatherface he looks, and maybe it's going to go down that route. I don't know. Maybe he's going to start flaying victims and wearing their skins. These gloves he's got on in this picture look a bit human skin like. There's a vein, I'm sure, on one of them. So, sorry, I've taken it to a very dark place.
No, that's gross. And can we also zoom down to his feet? I know it's a dated meme, but what are those? Nice orthopedic shoes you got there.
Shoes. Yeah.
Very sensible.
Oh, I didn't realize it's like a dream sequence. So that's so it's not really like the Joker's in this. It's like Batman's going to imagine he's talking to the Joker.
I think it's like a future Joker.
It's the nightmare sequence that you were referencing, Lon. From what people are saying, it's that apocalyptic future vision crap that he had.
That is from Batman v Superman, is it not?
Right.
Yeah,
I thought that was.
Yeah, I'm just going off.
That's in this movie too now. It's got to get to 4 hours somehow, so they're throwing it all in.
Batman's having dreams that extend to multiple films.
Batman's always had a screw loose.
When does he even find all this time to sleep? He's crime fighting at night, and then he's Bruce Wayneing during the day.
There's no limit on what happens in the mind when you're asleep, Lon, though. Yeah. I will say that.
He has like a 20-minute nap every day, and that's his sleep paralysis demon. Is Jared Leto's Joker goes, in the future,
that is terrifying.
You cannot vape. They ban jewel pods. Hunka hunka.
But Jared Leto's Joker is like alive though. Like theoretically, it could be he's in Arkham or so. Like do we even know where he is during Justice League?
Outside of Batman's mind, I don't think we really know.
We know he broke up with Harley, and then she's off having exciting adventures of her own with her new friends.
Yeah. So I guess this brings us to a larger, broader topic. And I know maybe this is the wrong panel to ask because we're a little jaded. We dive over these movies and pore over them repeatedly. But are we Jokered out? Do we need a Joker break, or put the Joker in everything? Those are the only two options.
As cynical as I am, I'm not Joe. Like it's a fun character. I'm up for seeing more takes. I'm a little soured on this one just because the Suicide Squad Joker was not good. Like I don't think any of us really enjoyed it, and the prospect of seeing more of that character, especially more of that character in a context-free environment, I don't know, that doesn't really get me super excited. But like the prospect of bringing in somebody new, some new take on the Joker in some other movie, like sure, Joker me, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not sure about this movie as well, but yes, I love all the iterations I've seen of I have feelings about all the iterations of Joker I've seen. I love Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I wish that he could be in the Snyder cut, but I think from as screen Jokers go, I've loved, Cesar Romero's Joker way back when, and I'm very open to seeing more versions. Yes.
You know what I've
got a bad joke for you guys for if Joaquin Phoenix was in Snyder Cut Joker, and that is bathe Martha. I'm sorry.
Okay. I mean, just like Heath Ledger's Joker obviously was amazing. We all love that movie. Very influential. I'd love to see, like, I feel like we've had a bunch of takes in a row that are that kind of like Joker as like a street guy or like this real grungy, gritty take on it. And like Joker's so malleable, I'd love to see a really different direction. Like somebody go back to like more of the Jack Nicholson, like gentleman gangster Joker. Like it'd be fun to get a different take after 2 or 3 in a row that are doing the same, like, this
so for like example, for the Robert Pattinson Bat-Chise, if it goes multiple films, or if he's even in the first one, you'd like to see the dapper gangster Joker make a return.
Yeah, or just, I mean, it doesn't have to be that take. It's just like there have been so many wildly different takes on this character throughout comic book history. We don't need to ever just settle into like one pocket. Like I'd like to see somebody with a really left turn outside the box take on it now that we've seen 2 or 3 in a row that are sort of like all kind of revisiting what Heath Ledger was doing. In different ways. Like I like the Joaquin Phoenix performance. I'm not knocking it. I just feel like we've seen that take now a few times.
Yeah. Well, I guess in conclusion, just going to ask just to do a little psychoanalysis or cultural analysis is why do we like Joker stuff so much? Why has the Joker had like a really, I think in his lifetime, unprecedented run of popularity from I guess from the 90s to today? Why can we not get enough Joker? Any thoughts?
Well, he's such a complex character. I mean, you know, that's one aspect of it. We love to hate him and we love to love him. And I think there's lots of facets of him to explore. Like Lon says, we'd still be perfectly happy to see a Jack Nicholson type Joker again on screen. And that would be something different again, I think, because there's so much to explore in this character. But also, I think people keep making him iconic on screen. These brilliant actors keep taking on the role and bringing something new to it and keeping it interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, all these characters are like fantasy on some level. Like superheroes, it's all like a power fantasy. You know, what if I could like set things right myself and not have to hope for other people to help? And I think villains in the same way. But a lot of these comic book villains, it's like Lex Luthor or something. It's this kind of inaccessible, remote, like, yeah, it'd be fun to be like a billionaire. We can't relate to being an evil billionaire. But like a guy who drops out of society and just stops caring and does whatever he wants and is just like creating chaos. Like that's a fantasy that I think everybody has on some level of like, just run away and do whatever you want and give up on all your responsibilities. Like Joker really represents that like archetype beautifully of like the ultimate stop giving a crap, take off and drop out of life fantasy that everybody kind of has on their dark days. And
and he's kind of like
the best takes on Joker tap into that.
Yeah, he's piggybacking off that. He's kind of like a weather vane for how society is doing at the time, because I feel like from Jack Nicholson through Heath Ledger, even, it was like he was an agent of chaos and fear, and like you painted like your enemies as like they're the Joker, they're out of control. But like in the Trump era, like things swung back the other way, and it's like, no, now I'm the Joker, now I'm like blowing up the system, and like it kind of became more of a positive.
Well, and that's even like the meme now on Twitter. Like when a really stupid or terrible news story happens, it's like, that's it, I'm going to become the Joker. Like I've had enough. This is my breaking point. And yeah, I think that it's become a kind of cultural shorthand for that, which not the killing people part and the murderous part, but like the unchecked id, the like freedom to just do whatever you want and not worry about what people think or what society tells you to do. There's something very exciting and relevant, I think, about that for people.
Yeah,
I think we should. Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say about, you mentioned the murderous side. I think that is a big part of his appeal as well, and that he can be so cruel and sadistic, and that appeals to our baser natures. Well, it does mine anyway.
Right. But it's not in that like serious. It's not a Thanos thing. It's not like I must kill for it is the thing to do, which so many comic book villains have. It's like just because I want to. It's like it's just impetuous. Like he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have a grand design. He's just doing whatever he wants and having fun. And I think that's a big part of it.
Well, we should track Joker appeal along with GDP and other metrics to see how a society is doing at any point. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for watching. You, audience, subscribe to the channel for, not you, Lon, for videos every weekday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And so you can be informed when we come back, like this Friday, where there's going to be a WandaVision episode 6 review with Roth and Eric. That sounds fun. Can't wait for that episode. So we'll see what happens then. Other news, other non-Joker news has happened, so feel free to leave. Who cares if we're not talking about the Joker anymore? I guess Disney shut down an entire animation studio. But so this
somehow the Joker was behind this.
That's some Joker stuff, Disney. So this sucks. This is what happens when one company gets to buy every other company. Is they say, oh, we already do animation. So Blue Sky Studios, the $5.9 billion grossing former 20th Century Fox division that made 13 feature films, including the whole Ice Age franchise, is kaput, is no more. They'll be shut down in April and will be impacting, which I think is corporate for fired, 450 employees. Their library and IP will all remain part of Disney, and they're still going to forge ahead and make the Ice Age Disney Plus show. So that sucks. What more is there to say except monopolies are bad, and I feel for the people who've lost their jobs. Any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with both of those things that you said. And I think one extra sort of sad thing I would put on top of this is the number of groups or of studios at this point that are putting out American animated features is just dwindling. I mean, it gets smaller and smaller all the time. It's so hard to mount one of these movies. And so just fewer voices in that way kind of sucks. And it goes to further and further, like, like narrowing the scope of what kind of animated movies come out in a given year. And like, granted, like Blue Sky wasn't doing that dramatically different stuff than like Pixar, DreamWorks, but it sucks to lose like a different voice from the mix. And I actually thought their last, I believe Spies in Disguise is going to be the last like Blue Sky film that gets released.
Because they're not going to get to finish the last one, that they were working on.
Watched it not that long ago, and it's pretty fun. Like it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be based on the trailer. So they go out on kind of a high note as well.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I agree with everything you said, but on the whole, I feel like the Blue Sky output you could describe as also Rans. The Ice Age franchise aside, but they're continuing to make that series Disney Plus, I believe. So so I don't feel sad aside from the fact fewer creative outlets means fewer options, means a lot of people out of work, and that's all awful. But I'm not going to lament the fact I'm not going to see another Rio film.
Well, they did make that Peanuts movie,
the Rio films, but they did also do that Peanuts movie.
Yeah, I thought that was delightful.
Good. They did. And like Horton Hears a Who is not bad. Like I don't think it was all. They were like, to me, like they're on a par with DreamWorks. I feel like it's a. I don't necessarily feel like DreamWorks is killing them in the quality department.
Yeah, so that's sad. Let's all pour one out for Blue Sky Studios today, and I hope they reform or something springs up in its place, because we need more options, more places to tell stories. Speaking of old stories that have been told already, we're getting a Velma show. Yeah, Velma from Scooby-Doo, but she's grown up. She's all grossed up. And she's on HBO Max with a 2-season order. I'm skipping ahead. That's the one I'm actually excited about.
Oh yeah, I added that just for you. But yeah, that was a part of the same announcement.
Okay, so let's get the Velma out of the way. So a large adult animation slate revealed by HBO Max on Wednesday, and it's from Mindy Kaling. Okay, I assume that. Is it really called Velma Origins? Are you serious? Okay. Anyways.
I had just seen Velma. I think it's.
And that might
Velma.
be. I think that's Eric being clever.
The thing I wrote this morning, I think it is just called Velma.
Okay, fair enough. So we have a Velma series, and we have also. I'm sorry, this script is all over the place. So we also have a Powerpuff live action show, but that's by the CW. That's also the grown up.
That's a different announcement.
The grown up bitter Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts on Velma. Is this an idea that you have any interest in, or does the addition of Mindy Kaling do anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is more like a Mindy Kaling. If you like the Mindy it's the same team, like her and her co-writer from Mindy Project, and then that 4 Weddings and a Funeral Hulu series. So if you're fans of that, I feel like this will be that. And then they'll add in like, oh, and it's Velma. So like she'll solve a mystery or be nerdy or whatever. But like, yeah, I feel like it's probably going to be more along the lines of like Mindy Kaling's next show with a little sprinkle of Scooby-Doo-ness on top. Mm-hmm. That's my guess.
Yeah, why not? It's intriguing. We all love Scooby-Doo, and there's more to say about Velma, I'm sure. Apparently it dives into her complex and colorful past. So
didn't we see her past, and wasn't that in the Mystery Machine? I guess she was.
I mean, that's only a few years in there. I'm sure there's other adventures on either side.
She spent a stint with the Globetrotters. She doesn't want to be
defined entirely by her time in the Mystery Machine.
Fair enough. Look, I just want to talk about this. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. Forget the Snyder Cut movement, the High movement, the hashtag Get High movement. We brought back Clone High, 2 seasons, HBO Max. It's coming back, people. We did it. Round of applause. Thank you.
Were you very active in the revived Clone High community?
You wouldn't believe the amount of people's family members I doxed to get them to bring back Clone High. I think one of the best adult animated series of all time. It's Lord and Miller. They're still they're involved, and it's official. They've always said they wanted to, and now we actually get it. We get it to happen. So a big, long, extended Wesley for all my Clone High fans. It's coming back. I'm excited. I hope you share my enthusiasm, and if not, go rewatch Clone High because it's genius.
Yeah, I like Clone High. It'll be fun to have them back. There's so much. It just feels like if you liked a show from the 80s, 90s, or aughts, just be patient at this point. Like your time will come around. Like at this point, I wouldn't count anything out.
Well, speaking of which, and this is in addition to the Powerpuff thing that I mentioned briefly, but I think we've talked about that before. Is what are there any other kids cartoons or shows from that era that you'd like to see brought back, either adult animation style or live action CW style? Is there anything you're waiting on to return?
Kim, if you have one, I was just going to say The Critic.
Yes.
To me, it's The Critic.
Yeah, The Critic would be great.
The moment is perfect for a Critic revival. It was so ahead of its time. The movie parodies stuff would work even better today. Where is that?
He'd have a YouTube channel. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and for me, do you remember a cartoon from the 80s called Galaxy High?
No.
It ran for one season, 13 episodes. It was about two Earthling teenagers that got accepted into an intergalactic high school based on an asteroid. And I loved it. And then it was cancelled. And there was talk in the 90s of doing a movie, which never happened. I'd like to see a live action version of that.
Galaxy High, sick. I'll have to check that out. You've been giving us some great picks. Before the show, you told us about Captain Porky Pants. What is it?
Pugwash. Captain Pugwash.
Pugwash.
Captain Pugwash. Yeah. I'm still not positive I believe that's real. That sounds like Lon. All right, your story checks out. Okay.
All right, so that's our next movement, is to bring back
there is a British show that I loved. There's a British animated series that I love that I bet Kim will have heard of that they should bring back. Count Duckula. You guys remember
Count
Duckula?
David
He used to be on in a pair with Danger Mouse, who has been brought back. Nickelodeon did revive Danger Mouse already. So
wow,
where are you, Count Duckula?
Is this any relation to Duckman or different duck?
No. Although I did also love USA's Duckman. And what's Jason Alexander doing? Get him back.
He's a vegetarian, Count Duckula.
Right, that was the whole bit. Is he's a vampire, but he only wants to eat vegetables.
Oh, that sounds like hell. That's really dark. Can never eat what you want.
It's not really that dark.
All right, you guys. We have time for maybe one, maybe two AMA questions, because we've got to get to that junket with Jack Schaefer and WandaVision and Kim. So let's do Adam Hulbert writes, do you think Matt Reeves' Riddler could add some interesting commentary like the past Joker?
Yes.
Yes.
I love the Riddler, and I feel like I like the Jim Carrey take. It's funny. I'm not knocking it, but we've never had like a cool, interesting on-screen Riddler that's more like the Riddler from the comics. He's kind of doing the 60s Frank Gorshin sort of Riddler, which is fun. But I'm very much looking forward to a little bit of a darker, more thoughtful take on the Riddler for sure, because there's a lot of stuff you could do with like obsession and OCD and sort of how he views himself in the media, and like I think there's a lot you could do with Riddler that we haven't really touched on.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see a darker version, but for me, I love Corey Michael Smith's Riddler in Gotham. I'm a big fan of Gotham, and that series for me blended humor and darkness perfectly. So if it was something a little bit like that Ed Nigma, I would be into that.
Cool. So yeah, I guess there is a roadmap for a cool new Riddler. And yeah, I think it'll be tough because to me, the Riddler as a concept has always been a little silly, that it's like his superpower is leaving you clues to stopping the crime.
Yeah, but that's what's interesting in the comics a lot of time is that it's a compulsion. Like he'd be the world's greatest criminal because he's a genius, but he's compelled to keep giving himself away because he's got to like prove that he's smarter than whoever's chasing him. And like to me, that's where the tension and the interesting stuff about the character would come from. It's less like he's taunting everybody and like he's silly with the riddles, and it's more like he can't help it, he has to do this because that's what the crime is really about. On one level is his intellectual supremacy.
And then Langley Neely asks, what's a film or TV trend you guys feel too old to enjoy or understand? I'm sure we all have one.
Oh, there's so many for me. I missed out on so much.
For me, it is that CWization of like. Granted, I haven't given it like a fair shake, but there's just nothing in me that can take seriously like Dark Jughead and like Dark Archie and just I just grew up with those being so ridiculous that it'd be like a Dark Captain Crunch show or something. Like they've just always been the dumbest, like not dumb, but so silly. PG cartoons to me that to think of them in gangs and doing sex and drug stuff is just so on the surface silly. So I feel too old to get into the Riverdale verse.
Yeah, I like animation on TV. A lot of the computer generated animation that's made for television, I just can't get away. Like it's just my age and a generational thing. 2D TV animation looks perfect to me, but computer generated 3D animation on TV a lot of the time looks blocky and kind of cheap. Like it always looks like Reboot. Like even the newer stuff,
I like Reboot.
Those Star Wars shows that everybody loves. Like this is a lot of what keeps me from being able to get into something like Rebels, which I probably would like from a storytelling perspective. But I can't, that animation just doesn't look right to me because I'm an old man and I'm used to, Beavis and Butthead looking right. Yeah. And I just I don't know, I kind of can't get past it.
This is going to make me sound really old and really grumpy, but Harry Potter I have never been able to appreciate because as a kid I loved Lord of the Rings so much and Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and I reading J.K. Rowling's books and then watching the films, I could see so much let's say influence in them that it was impossible for me to like them. So
wow, even as a kid you were like, yes, she stole that.
Rip off. You're no Prince Caspian, sir.
Yeah, I think you were actually way ahead of the curve. Like culture has come full circle to agree with you. So congratulations. Congrats, you guys. You did.
What do you think of the Narnia films? Do you like those Walden Narnia movies that we got?
I quite like the first one. I like James McAvoy and Tilda Swinton, and that's about where it ends. But yeah,
right, yeah, not so great. Because I was a big Narnia fan as a kid too, and I could never really get into those films as much as a kid. I thought Narnia movies would be the awesomest thing ever. I don't know if we've ever gotten a great one.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to those honest trailers eventually, unless we've done them and I forgot. Anywho, right now we've got.
It would only be the first one.
Yeah, Kim's got a very special interview lined up. Anything you want to tell us about it before we cut to it?
Yeah, I mean, I would advise you to stick around and watch it because we talked about how she initially pitched a far crazier idea that they then toned down for the final WandaVision series. And also how important it was for her to tackle this crazy lady narrative from the comics in creating her Wanda for the screen. So she was very sensitive about that. So we've still obviously yet to see how Wanda grows through the series and what's going to transpire. But I'm excited to see that, having spoken to Jack Schaefer. But the most interesting thing that we talked about perhaps was about changing origin stories, which was something I asked her about doing. And she kind of insinuated that that's something she's been working on. So, anyone who feels like maybe Magneto might have a role to play further down the line should probably watch this interview and see what they think about what she says. So,
ooh, that's a good tease. So, all right, everybody stick around for the interview and we'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
sitcom.
Starring 2 Avengers?
It's a working theory.
The show's been such a hit. Would you envisage a season 2? Is it something that you would want to be involved in?
Well, I mean, I'm just so in the moment of this experience right now. I've never been a part of anything this big and this thrilling. I can't wait for people to see where it goes and what happens. So yeah, that's where my mind is at the moment.
Is there anything non-spoilery you can say to fans of Wanda who are concerned about the way some comics have portrayed her, like as evil or crazy, who are worrying that the show might portray her in a similar way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a great concern for me and for my writing staff and for my producer, Mary Lavanos. We were not interested in a portrayal that made her seem like her powers were too much for her and she was crazy, and this sort of crazy lady narrative is tired. So I would hope that as fans continue to watch the show, what they'll see is a nuanced portrayal of a very complicated woman.
I'm fine. It's probably just a case of the Mondays.
The series leads or ties into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I was wondering how closely you may have worked with the team on that film to tie in the series.
Well, I mean, the how the shows and the movies and everything interconnect is it's a Kevin Feige department thing. I have been in touch with some of those creatives and been able to sort of see what they're doing, so that, you know, and they obviously saw, you know, WandaVision. So there's a lot of making sure everybody is on the same page. There's as much communication that needs to happen in order to make sure, you know, all the stories land.
With the multiverse opening up, and frankly, with comic book movies, anything's possible. I wondered if that allows you to sort of play fast and loose with backstories and anything that's gone before.
Well, I mean, there's no playing it fast and loose at Marvel, like at all, ever. So, but I would say that, you know, when there are changes to origin pieces, it just has to be done thoughtfully. It has to make sense. It has to be right for the story, right for the character. And that's really fun work to do.
Did you ever explore something more conventional storyline-wise for the series?
No, and I'm proud of that.
No,
it was never conventional. It was never ever conventional. If anything, there were moments when it was like maybe a little bit weirder, and we had to, you know, pull back on small things. What you see is a like a finely tuned version of what I initially pitched.
Wow. And why did you decide to bring back Darcy Lewis and Jimmy Woo to the MCU?
There were a lot of discussions about who would be right. And when they were brought up to me, my answer was absolutely. I love those performers. I think they're phenomenal. And I've always been a fan of the characters. And it just seemed like a lot of fun to bring them into this world and give them more active roles, more sort of center roles.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a huge success already. There's a ton of people calling out for a Jimmy Woo spin-off.
Well, what's been fun is that I've seen on social media that people refer to them, Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy, as the trio, and that's what we call them. That was like totally our thing in the room. So yeah, it's been really satisfying to see people respond to them, and also to respond specifically to Jimmy and Darcy's growth, you know, since their last appearance in the MCU. So that's really fun.
Are you crying?
But I'm invested.
Can I ask you why you decided to change the meaning of sword from its comic book origins?
That's a complicated question. It's a larger conversation that I had with Marvel. And, you know, like everything, it's rooted in story.
If you could bring any member of the MCU into the series, who would you choose?
I mean, I got everybody I wanted.
We are an unusual couple, you know.
Oh, I don't think that was ever in question.